What's going on, guys? Zedd here, bringing you another Marvel Midnight Suns video, and this one is going to be my Ultimate 3 difficulty tier list. Now, you can look at this tier list as for any difficulty, just my opinion, obviously, but I've gone through the game on Ultimate 3. I got there before Act 1 was even finished. I've done a New Game Plus Ultimate 3 playthrough, and I've explored a lot of the cast. I don't really go into a run being like, this is the comp I'm running and that's it. No, I actually go in, I don't farm side missions, I do the bare minimum, which is about 25 story, 25 side, give or take. And so no farming, no forcing late game, mod rolling, re-roll. That's not what I do, right? I just beat the game as fast as I can and I use the entire roster. Okay, so this tier list is with that context. It's from someone who is having a lot of success on Ultimate 3 and who has, you know, analyzed the game a lot. If you've seen my content, you already know what that's all about. And I'm just here to give you my updated thoughts on the game after my first run. I did finish my first run a while ago. I beat the game in 4 days. And this is just delayed because I was thinking about it. I was remaking it. I was like, yes, no, maybe so. I was exploring other characters on my New Game Plus run, early game, just to see. So this is it. This is what we're going to do. And so with that context in mind, please, recognize you can play anybody you want. I don't really care. You can do anything you want. I don't really care. It's a single player game. This is just here for discussion, my analysis, if you want to be a min-maxing scrub like me. And I don't even really use combat items ever at all. I don't need them. To me, they're secondary. I think combat items are good for people who farm side missions and take a really long time in their runs, or if you're a single run kind of guy, then that's amazing. Combat items are great for you, but not me. I just want to play the game on hard mode, and not using combat items is hard mode. So I'm looking at these characters in a vacuum, by themselves. How are they? What do they need? Strengths, weaknesses. Let's get into it. So consistently strong. These characters are always good. You can pair them in any composition. Honestly, you can even make a comp with anybody in that list, and it's probably good. Situationally strong, these characters are sometimes even better than consistently strong characters, but they have some issues or some outliers, and we'll talk about those when we get there. And not the best picks is sort of a kitchen sink tier, meaning I've just taken all the characters that were, either weak or bad or outclassed or worse or buggy, whatever, and I just kind of dump them into not the best picks. And I'll talk about those characters individually when we get there. Okay? So, with that said, I'm going to start with the hunter. I'm going to break down the 3 different hunters that I have here, and then we'll get into the proper tier list, because I want to preface that I think Hunter is the strongest character in the game. I think most Hunter builds make her the strongest character in the game, and honestly, it's pretty much not even a debate. So, first up, we'll do the balanced Hunter. This Hunter is a Hunter who uses uses a mix of power, light, and dark cards. I think that's the optimal way to play Hunter. That kind of hunter build, a well-rounded hunter build, is so strong. Cannot be overstated, right? The power cards are insane. And even the commons, quick slash is insane, slash is insane, fortify is insane. And then those 3 are like staples for a lot of players. And then you have patience, which can fit in, and guarding strike, which can fit into your slower pace comps, or your Iron Man comps, or your Wolverine comps, right? Things like that. So, and then the dark cards you have, right? Last Sight, you have Whip, you have All Out. These are amazing cards. And then light, you have Holy Spark, Holy Burst, Heal. These are amazing cards. You could pick like half of the Hunter's cards and they're all just amazing. And the other half, not so much. But Power really only has 1 or 2 bad cards. And even then, you can make do. A balanced hunter is so strong. I don't even think this is a debate. I don't really need to spend any time on this. If anyone argues this point, you're objectively wrong. A well-designed hunter build is the strongest character in the game on Ultimate 3 in New Game Plus, period. End of discussion. Next up would be the light hunter. So the light hunter has a fun little niche in that is one of the only abundant sources of healing in the game. Healing is quite good, I would say. There is no anti-heal. So Going more of a light path is good. Now, what I mean by light path is you're running 5 or more light cards in your hunter deck. So that's to me is your majority hunter, right? So, or pardon, your majority light. So that's what I consider a light hunter. Situationally strong for sure. Situations where it's not strong is if you're running already a bunch of support characters or you already have healing and block on your team. Like, for example, I think a light hunter does not pair very well with the likes of Blade or even Captain America, right? Because they're pretty sustainable in their own right. You don't really need to be holy bursting and healing and etc., right? So a light hunter build is the best way, or is the best of the two more specialized roles, being light and dark, in my opinion. Holy Spark is one of the best cards in the game, honestly. It's a quick when you need it at a high damage coefficient, and it's a cure when you need it. Just insane. Truly just insane. And then the Holy Burst card is great. It's one of the only point and click AoEs in the game. It's incredible. And yeah, the worst part about Light Hunter is frickin' Summon Charlie. That card is awful. Do not run it unless you're just banning over Charlie for some reason. It is awful. It is not worth the deck spot. Charlie's cards aren't even that good. The only thing about Charlie that sucks, and the other thing that sucks about Charlie, I should say, is you have to pet her every day if you want to be optimal, because she is required in a couple, one or two story missions, and those on the higher difficulties are rough if you don't have upgraded Charlie cards, and the only way to upgrade Charlie cards is to pet Charlie, and so that's annoying. Furthermore, on New Game Plus, your Charlie friendship doesn't carry over. Fun fact. So I have to do that every time I play, every day, every night, like. So if you're like, oh, I like petting Charlie, that's fine, but keep in mind how many times I have to pet the stupid dog, right? If you're someone like me. So I hate Charlie. I hate Summon Charlie. I think the mechanic is dumb. It's awful, and I wish I didn't have to pet her to up her friendship level. So, anywho, um, that's it for Light Hunter. Last up would be Dark Hunter. So Dark Hunter, I think, is just, again, compared to the other hunters, I think Dark Hunter is just awful. I don't even think there are I don't even think there's 4 Dark Hunter cards that are good. You have All Out, Whip, and Last Sight, which is great. Those cards are awesome. But then the list kind of ends there. Dark Cure can be good, or Dark Heal rather can be good because it cures, and it's just insane. However, it can't be used on the hunter, so that sucks. You have, what's it called? Dark Blessing, which is decent in the earliest of games, as in like early before you even fight Venom the second time. Pretty good. But then it falls off super hard if you even like it in the first place. Personally, I don't. I think the Mind Bender and Mind, what is it, Breaker? The 2 Mind cards, I don't think they're good. I don't think they're worth their cost. They're wildly inconsistent. They're very random. They can definitely have some niche use, but not enough to be like, this is what I'm putting in my deck. Other than that, Annihilation as a legendary card it's fine. I think Bladestorm is just better. I didn't really talk about it on the Balance Center because to me, Bladestorm is the Hunter's legendary card. It's not even close to me. So Bladestorm just is a pretty strong legendary card. It's the strongest of the 3 Hunter legendary cards in my opinion. And I don't know. I don't really have much to say on Dark Hunter, but I do want to say, even if you're like, no, Zedd, Dark Hunter is great. What are you talking about? The reason why I don't think a Dark Hunter is good in terms of tier list and being optimal is because there's already so many DPS characters in the game. The Balance Hunter can do damage just as well as the Dark Hunter. The Light Hunter can even do some damage of their own. I don't think it's efficient to build Hunter as another DPS, considering how many there are in the game. So for that reason, I think it's a bit of a wasted investment. I'll concede that I'm currently running a Dark Hunter on my New Game Plus U3 playthrough, and that's more to test the limits, push its limits, amongst other things and other characters, but I thought it was bad before. I kind of knew it was bad. I still think it's bad, but I'm forcing it anyway just to be like, it's bad. Not much more to say on the Dark Hunter, to be frank. not great. You definitely want either a balance of sprinkle some in of all of them, or go more the light route. I don't think going the dark route is that strong on the higher difficulties. Although again, Last Sight and Whip specifically, those two even more so than All Out, those two cards are insane. But that doesn't make a Dark Hunter by my metric of 5 or more. So that's it for Hunter. Let's get into the rest of the roster, and we'll just, it is ordered, we'll go left to right, and then we'll just do all the tiers by themselves. And so first up, Doctor Strange. I mean, this character is just insane. He literally has everything. Literally. Like, I remember pre-launch, the only card we were missing for Strange was Crimson Bands of Satarak. And when you're looking at his list, you're like, okay, he does damage, he does utility, he has unique support, as in like Agamotto's Gaze, Vishanti, etc. He can apply Conceal, he can apply Resist, he has quick knockbacks, he has forceful knockback quick with Winds of Watum upgraded, which is so good. He has, what else does he have? He has a Conceal, Resist. His Seven Sons and Cinnabis Midnight Suns card, it's okay, but it's a good AoE nuke if you just need AoE damage. It can get the job done. He has arguably like the best passive in the game. So what does this dude not have? And the one thing that I kind of came back to was, oh, he doesn't have a bind or a stun, right? He doesn't have that hard CC. He doesn't have a banish. He doesn't have a thwip. He doesn't have. Well, lo and behold, we find out Crimson Bands of Satarak is, what is it? It's a bind. And what else does it do? Applies vulnerable. Like, this character literally has the bucket list. He has everything you want in the game that's like consistent and good and solid and reliable. He can fit into any composition, he can do damage, he can pseudo tank with the likes of Seraphim and Vapors of Valtor because Resist and Conceal are really good. He has light healing, very light healing, I'll admit. Apply Weaken on Axe of Angarumus is insanely good. If you're not running Axe of Angarumus or you're sleeping on it, I highly suggest you give it a shot. I promise you it's good at later stages of the game, even though it's a common card. And that's the other thing. His common cards are just so good, save for Vishanti, that he just scales so well. And Vishanti is a card I wanted to touch on briefly. I think Blessing of the Vishanti is one of his worst cards. And the reason being is it's so useless in most teams that it's like you play Vishanti, but you don't see the rewards whatsoever. However, if you're running chains and you've got a lot of chain attacks, right? You're running maybe Wolverine Blade or Nico Blade with like Witchfire, right? Witchfire on Nico. It's not a chain, but it kind of works like a chain. If you're running chain attacks, Vishanti's good, right? If you're a huge Wolverine Blade fan, and like Strange Wolverine Blade, yeah, Vishanti, definitely, I would run Vishanti. But other than that niche case, Vishanti is really bad. And then his only other bad card is Bolt of Balthok. Now, if you think about what I just said, if he has 10 cards in the game, and 2 of them are bad, that means if you theoretically wanted to, you could run one of each amazing Doctor Strange card and be fine. Which is like, it's wild to me to think about that. But he's insane. He fits everywhere. He's the best support in the game. Even if you don't think he's the best character in the game, he is the best support in the game. His passive generating heroism at 50%. 50% is a really big number, honestly, compared to the other percentiles in this game. He's just so effective. So good. So good. That's all I've got for Strange. We could be here forever if I continue. Next up is Magik. Magik surprised me. I knew that she would be good, but I don't think she's OP as Jake says he is or she is, but she is very strong. And I think what makes her so strong is the simplicity of her kit, which might be a hot take if you're like, oh, I'm a Magik main and I'm a big brain for using her portal. Nah, not really. Like, I might argue portals are smooth brain because they take away the restriction of positioning. They take away the need to set up environmental attacks. They take away these things. If if you really want to get into it. But no, she's really strong. And the other thing, or similar to Strange, what makes her good is her common cards are really, really good, and you should probably just run most of them the entire game. Truly. I'll give you some context. My Magic deck ran one epic, two rares, and the rest commons. That's really good, right? That's really good. Um, Limbo's Grasp is, or Limbo's Gaze, whatever it's called, I always mess up the name, is a really nice card when it's upgraded, keyword when it's upgraded. And what's really nice about Limbo's is it also synergizes with Shove. And I mean, this just goes for Magic's portals in general. It synergizes with the Shove move option. So if you shove someone with Magic after summoning a portal, it does go through her portal, and it does proc Limbos for that extra damage, which is insane. And that synergizes with the bump enemies into allies thing. That there's a lot of flexibility with the innate yard mechanics and Magic, which I think is quite a neat touch. I think it's cool. And that doesn't even talk about Banish Plus and Darkchild. Banish Plus is one of the strongest cards in the game, and if you don't see it, if you don't know why, I won't spend too long talking about it, but trust me when I say that on Ultimate 3, and specifically New Game Plus Ultimate 3, having Banish is amazing. Not only does it act as sort of a tanking feature for allies, but the fact that it can, you know, secure you last second objectives to win the game, or banish a supervillain for 2 of their actions as opposed to 1, is so good. And to elaborate on that, if you've ever noticed when you bind or stun a supervillain, they break out of it and then they still get 1 of their 2 actions. This is not the case for Magik. When she banishes a supervillain, they're gone for both their turns. So if you've ever felt like, banish is so expensive, well, that's kind of why. If it's an enemy, they absolutely get no input and no action, and if it's an ally, there's no damage they can take. And that includes I believe that includes corruption and bleed, but I might be wrong. But what is cool is that does include like environmental attacks, right? So if you banish an ally and then for whatever reason, you know, they're in the AoE of a barrel, or you know, a crossbones mine, or you know, something like that, a hazard, right? They're not going to take the damage. Whereas if they're concealed, they still will. So it's like a conceal on drugs. I don't know if it works on bleed and corruption. Actually, I'm pretty sure it does, but don't quote me on that. Okay? Magik is really good. Oh, last thing, sorry. I would not consider her a support. I actually consider her a DPS. So, yeah. Knockbacks are really, really, really good. They're a huge source of damage in this game. And so, yeah. Darkchild is amazing too. I didn't even talk about that. Darkchild's amazing. It is essentially a tanking card for 1 turn. So she upgraded. She taunts the whole room, gains invuln and counter. That's insane. Does it have counterplay? Yes, it does. So if there's an enemy that dazes or stuns, or dazes or stuns, then and they CC her, she won't counter, which is a bummer. But hey, at least it's an invulnerable taunt. So there is that, right? Magik is really good. Next up, Captain America. This character is insane as well. However, not as volatile as Strange or Magik, which is why he falls behind them. And he is the most consistent, reliable tank in the game. Arguably the only tank in the game, which I'll kind of elaborate on when we get to the other ones. Super reliable. He does do chunky damage when he needs to. He's the card draw machine. No one draws cards more than he does, as far as I know, off the top of my head. He generates a ton of block. He's a taunt control maniac. He does so much, and he also generates a ton of heroism too. Reason being, you usually want to run a lot of skill cards on him, right? You have Dig In, Tactician, and Best Defense. Those 3 cards are all insane. You probably want to run at least 1 of each, which is 3, and so you have 1 more spot, right? That's 4 skill cards right there at 2 heroism each. His Midnight Suns card, some people like it, some people hate it. I actually think it's very good. I think it's one of the only combo systems in the game that I think is worth it. I'm not a big fan of combo reliability and what I call do nothing cards. However, Best defense into shield charge is good because best defense lasts for 2 turns. And so you're kind of getting lingering value off of that card. Same with Wanda's Unleashed, right? Same idea. If it was only that turn, it would be awful. But because it's 2 turns, it's decent, right? Best defense, same thing. If it was just the 1 turn, it wouldn't be that good of a card. But because it's 2 turns, it's quite good. And so when you have block, and then you best defense and shield charge, it consumes all your block, it does all that damage, and then what happens? You get all that block back. So it's very good. It's very reliable. And then shield charge otherwise is a good way to use heroism on Cap, something he kind of struggles with because he has spang and shield bounce, but you don't want to run too many spangs, if any, because it just gets kind of clunky and it's not great. But other than spang and what's that card called? Punch. Other than spang and punch, all of his cards are great. Oh, no, sorry, shield bash is rough too. So 7 of Cap's 10 cards are great, and that's awesome. It means you have really consistent deck choices. And lastly, his common cards are some of the best in the game too. Again, if you exclude punch, you have quick punch, which is a quick, solid. You have tactician, which is nice, and then you have shield bounce, which is nice, right? Quick, punch, shield bounce, and tactician. Yeah, his common cards are very good. He actually, it's funny, he's one of the characters that you could take all the way to endgame, and as long as you just throw in like 1 dig in at some point, he'll be fine. You honestly don't even need best defense. It's just nice to have. So not much to say on Cap. Very straightforward, very simple, very good. And he does do chunky damage if you need to. And yeah. So believe it or not, that actually rounds out my consistently strong tier. Only 4 characters. I tried to make it a top 5 just to, I like having a top 5, but honestly, no, I couldn't. No other character was on the same level in terms of consistently strong in their respective roles. And if you look at these top 3, it's kind of funny. You have a support, a DPS, and a tank. Yeah, these characters plus the hunter somewhere in there are insane. If you pair any of these characters together, or if you pair any of these characters with any of the characters in situationally strong, you're going to have an amazing team. So first up on situationally is Mr. Tony Stark. I already know that this one's going to stir some heat, because according to the Discord, the community Discord, which is linked down below, this character is top 1, no doubt, no questions asked. According to me, I think he is strong if, keyword if, you decide at the very, very beginning of your playthrough, I'm running Iron Man, and he is my carry. Reason being is, not only does he require a lot of cards that, like, a lot of his commons are pretty ho-hum, they're not great. His both of his attack cards are common, which is very convenient, it's very nice. But outside of that, his commons are not super awesome without a lot of work. So Surgical Strike blows like hard until you get the Leave It to Me's, the Precisions, like all the pieces to the puzzle, right? And Precision can feel really bad if you don't have the perfect setup for it. Iron Man in general feels really, really, really bad if he goes downed or gets dazed or gets stunned. Now you might say, oh, well, that's the case for every character. Well, it's even worse for him. Why? Because getting his cards out of your hand is a bloody nightmare. It's it can be so difficult because of how his redraw mechanics work that it's hard to do. Now, if you're using Iron Man not just as a I'm going Iron Man this run kind of character and you're just floating him into your team, he's pretty subpar in my opinion. He, like, heads up is awful scaling. It doesn't work very well. Leave It to Me is an amazing card. Iron Man literally requires it. However, it clunks up your hand pretty hard, or it clogs up your hand pretty hard, I should say. Then his Surgical Strike and Air Superiority, or Surgical is bad if you're not running just a bunch of Iron Man stuff and like making your hand his hand. But then air superiority is very expensive and it's not super strong. Though, disclaimer, I would suggest keeping one copy on hand as it is amazing in defeat Nest Mother missions. So there is that. But not required. It's just, I think it's a nice little flex. Hellfire Beam is honestly a little overrated. Maybe it's not overrated. I actually don't know if people are underrating it, but people seem to like Hellfire Beam. I don't really. I don't think Hellfire Beam is super awesome. Really don't. I think the way it works is super cool though. I think the fact that it just infinitely scales is super sick. But I don't love it as a card. I think like because it just has to sit there in your hand constantly in order for it to gain value. And then you need something like Precision or Holy Gift Plus on your Hunter or you know, Nico to duplicate it. So you need something like that, right? So it's a bit clunky. But the other thing with Iron Man that I wanted to talk about was I think his new game plus efficiency, if you're like I'm going Iron Man, is not good because again, assuming you play the game in a way that you're not just farming side missions constantly until you get the perfect build and then you do the story, right? Like cuz that's just yeah, that's different. And the reason being is on New Game Plus U3, you're fighting the demons pretty, like, very early. Within the first 5 missions, you're running into Guardians and Wolves already, right? And within Act 1, you're already seeing Nest Mother and Dark Legion sometimes, right? Just to give you an example, I ran into a Dread Maiden on my second ever side mission. Yeah, let me just tell you that, you know, Ultimate 3, Dread Maiden, all common cards, and my comp was Hunter, Spider-Man, and Hulk is not a fun time. So if you're running Iron Man and you run into these situations and he gets injured, he goes down, he just dies. There's a lot more KOs on New Game Plus. If your Iron Man just starts getting abused, he becomes a burden. It really does. So Iron Man is like feast or famine. He either kills the board in 2 turns or he dies trying. And your hands get so clunky, bricky. So he's just, you can make him consistent if you're like, I'm going Iron Man this game and you can't say otherwise. Sure, go for it. It works. I've been referring to that as like the Iron Man build, or the Iron Man syndrome is when you're like, this character is my carry and there's nothing you're going to say to stop me. Go for it. Just be aware that once you start over, it's hard. And even then, the comp falls apart as soon as he's getting CC'd, or if he gets confused, or he gets hexed, or he gets, you know. And then let's not even talk about the fact that story missions have required heroes. And when you get into Act 3, there are multiple missions that require just all 3 heroes, and there's no say you have. And on the final mission, the Iron Man comp doesn't mean shit. So, yeah, it's reason being is you can't. Yeah, like again, Act 3 just has very little say on who you use in the grand scheme, like compared to 1 and 2 at least. So I think Iron Man comps are just, they're a fun little gimmick if you're just like, I'm gonna play this game once through and I'm gonna have fun at endgame and I'm not doing New Game Plus, fine. But I'm not the best person to talk to about that. I'm talking replayability. You're gonna keep playing the game, New Game Plus, pushing difficulties. Iron Man is good if you commit. And that's why I'm willing to put him here as opposed to lower on the list where I had him originally, because I will concede that if the Iron Man build works for you and if you high roll on your early coils, which is another thing, you kind of have to high roll his coils early in order for him to really get the ball rolling. If you high roll his coils and you get an early Leave It to Me, he's pretty good. Yeah. I just don't appreciate the fact that I have to use my redraw mechanic to make him a slightly above average character until the end game, the full Iron Man build, where he then becomes like top 1, top 2 DPS. But it took all that work to get there, all those mods to get there, all those rerolls to get there. And it's like, well, how much effort was it to get there compared to something else, right? So anyway, this could be its own thing. I spent too long on it already. I apologize. Let's move on. Next up, and this one was shocking. But I want to explain this one. Let's not be like, oh, you were wrong, is Blade. I want to explain this one because on my first tier list, I had him as second worst in the game because I had thought, and I still think this, raw DPS is not enough to win missions, and it's not, frankly. Not really. The other thing is, and this has been true for the record, this has been true for every character except for Iron Man, as I have discussed. Blade's early game is quite good. One of the first things I would suggest you do is upgrade Make Him Bleed, even if it means taking one of the two that are in his base deck out. Just if you upgrade Make Him Bleed and you either upgrade or replace Strike, the rest of the deck is fine. Just Quick Strike, you don't even have to upgrade it. Stake, you don't even really have to upgrade it. Just upgrade one of those Make Him Bleeds, if not both, and then take one of those strikes out, and you already have best in slot. Like, he's so easy to play optimally. He's so easy to build. He doesn't have build variations. He's super one-dimensional. It's obvious, at least it should be, what cards are good and bad on him. Like, for example, the Hunger is awful, although it's free. So if you're like, I'm a fan of Hunger, what are you on about, Zedd? Fine, run it. It's free. I don't care. But he's just so easy and he scales so well. But furthermore, I haven't like proven this as I'm making note of the story mission comps during this current playthrough as we speak. I'm fairly confident he's the character you have to take the most on story missions besides Hunter herself. So inevitably you're gonna end up building Blade. This is a good thing because eventually you run into an enemy type where called the Revenant, where when they sorry, their passive is they target whoever was last bled. That includes them or their team. Meaning that any mission with a Revenant, Blade is top 1, basically. And if you have his passive leveled up to get 25% chance to apply a bleed stack, ooh, you're eating good. And then you have Glaive as well. Blade is in late game, Blade is insane because of the Revenant control. Early game, Blade is insane because he has stake and he is fairly consistent. Now, I actually don't think Bleed is that insane. And I some people have been like, oh, well, he's great at killing bosses, and oh, Bleed is nice. And like, yeah, obviously it's nice to do free damage. Like, of course, right? But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I think Blade is good because you take him for Make Him Bleed into Bleed stacks. Like, I just don't think that's good. I think the fact he brings no utility to the team, literally, everything he does is just damage, literally. I don't think that's very good. The reason why he's so high on this list is because situationally, as in when there are revenants against you, he is insane. Insane. But if you get like apply bleed mods on other characters, maybe not so insane, right? So I have him kind of middle of the pack, and I'm happy with him there. In those situations, top 1. Aside of that situation, he's fine, but I don't think he's that great. Yes, he is nice on boss battles to have those bleed stacks, but I don't think it's a really important factor. I don't think it's like, oh man, you know what I wish I had here? Bleed. Like, you don't really ever say that, right? So for Revenants, top 1. Everything else, he's okay. Not much else to say. Wanda. Wanda is one I've noticed now after kind of seeing people play. Wanda is one that no one's really talking about, no one's exploring, no one knows really anything about her. She's really good. But I think the reason no one's playing her is because she's not easy to play. She's awkward, she requires moving around, she requires positioning, she requires like she's very nuanced. She's very complicated. People who think, you know, if you think Magik is difficult or complex, nah, man. Wanda. Wanda is complex by comparison. I'm not saying she's like Galaxy Brain, but a lot of her cards are not very obvious in how they're strong. A lot of her cards are very awkward, such as Hex Charge and Detonate and getting Hex Field to work out well, and then you have, oh gosh, what's it called? Sorry, you have Chaos Field, right? And so she's a very awkward character to build. She's very awkward to play. I'm actually very excited because I'm using her a lot on my current New Game Plus playthrough. So I've been able to explore more of her kit, and yeah, she's insane. Since I've been able to use her earlier in the game, but yeah, no, she's really really good. She Quick Toss is one of the best cards in the game. And I realized, let me actually just jump over here because some people may not be familiar with her card names quite yet. So Quick Toss is very good. It's right here. Knockback in any direction quick. This is insane. Not only because it's a knockback in any direction, but because and quick, but because it actually has a base damage coefficient. You'll notice that some knockback quicks do and some don't, such as Magics and Spider-Mans, they don't. Whereas hers does. And so this is insane. This card is really, really, really good. And then you have, where is it here? Chaos Reigns. This card can be good. A little awkward, but it can be good. This is like I was saying with the Mind Breaker and Mind Bender cards on Hunter. Awkward to play, but what's good about hers is hers select an area. So it's not just one person, right? And so that's what makes it different. That's what makes it special. Hex Charge is super unique in that you know how when an officer, a Hydra officer, right, the dudes who use the red whip, you know how they've ever empowered their teams to just explode, or if you've ever broken a Hydra shield guard shield, eventually he like pumps himself up and he explodes, right? That's what Hex Charge is essentially. And so it's very awkward to use, but if you know how to use it, it's good. Um, Detonate, same thing. Detonates an explosion with 100% extra damage and radius, and on upgrade, allies are immune. So she has just a lot of nuance and a lot of just things that aren't immediately obvious in their value. And I think that's why players have just sort of been writing her off. Plus, admittedly, you get her second last character you get in the game. You get her very late in the game comparatively. So it can feel bad to bring her into fights with common cards. So I get it. But that's where New Game Plus comes in because you have the opportunity to use her. And I will say, though, oh boy, I will say, Wanda's base deck is horrendous. It is awful. She has the worst base deck in the game, and I don't even think it's close. It's awful. So she definitely needs some coils, um, excuse me, to get the likes of Quick Toss and Chaos Field, etc. But she's sort of a hybrid DPS support. But whereas Magik kind of leans more into the CC, damage department, Wanda kind of leans more into the supportive and AoE aspects of the game, and I love it. I think it's fun. She synergizes really well with Spider-Man and Magik as they both have access to extra moves, right? You have Opportunist on Spider-Man and you have redrawing Limbo Plus or Limbo Portal Plus to get a move. So she works really well with Magik, and Magik is such a good character, so they work really well together. And she can kind of bring Spider-Man up and support him in ways that he kind of needs. So she's super fun, and honestly, this isn't a biased placement. I think she is situationally insane. Those situations being where you have access to more moves or um, uh, where AoE is good. So if it's a mission like say Nest Mother, or it's a mission with a lot of reinforcements or survive, right? Survive X number amount of turns, she's really good. But if it's a defeat heavy enemies, maybe not. She doesn't really do as much single target damage, but she is one of the characters that does the most consistent AoE damage on top of having tons of debuffs and buffs as well. So pseudo support, pseudo DPS, really really awesome character. A lot of fun. If you haven't given Wanda a shake and you think she's awkward and weird, it's because she is awkward and she is weird. But she is consistent. But I promise you just need some rares and epics and you'll be soaring. But yeah, her commons are really bad. So there is that. And last up on situationally strong, I have Hulk. Hulk is another one that, like Iron Man, people might pulling their hair out and probably were typing as soon as I put him there. The thing is, excuse me. The thing is, looking at his cards, his base deck is also pretty bad, kind of like Wanda. It's kind of weird that the last two characters you get have bad early game decks. His heroic cards are so expensive for what they do, and Hulk's whole thing is think of him like Captain Marvel 2.0, to be honest. We'll talk about that. So Hulk needs to take damage in order to do damage, whereas Carol needs to not take damage to do damage. And if you compare Hulk at max offense stacks, I believe 5 stacks is the max off the top of my head, and it's 125 offense at that point, versus Marvel's 100% offense, and she doesn't have such a mechanic. He hits hard, but like outside of his Midnight Suns card, World Breaker, it's not like, oh my god, I'm literally deleting the board. Like, no, not really. And World Breaker is just a better Bladestorm, but Bladestorm's a bit cheaper, so even that's a bit of an argument. Hulk is a good character though. Like, don't misunderstand. He's a solid character. The line, what is it called? Thunderclap, being a knockback stun in a line, is pretty good. But the issue is it does no damage base. And then upgraded, it does very little damage base. So that kind of sucks. Where he really struggles though, truly, is he needs to take damage to do damage. But the kicker, he can't generate block, and his only healing cards have exhaust, and it's hard. It's hard to take damage as Hulk and keep going, and the fact that his abilities eat up that rage, it's just awkward. He does need a heroism team. Like, he pairs super well with Nico, which is great. I think that Nico is it's good that she has I might even say a best in slot pairing. She really goes well with Hulk. It's really good. But I think to use Hulk as a tank is a mistake. I think you want to play him like a bruiser, but you definitely want heroism generation and healing. So if your build is a light hunter playthrough and you're like, I'm gonna go more of a light focus hunter this playthrough, and you run cards like Call to Arms, Inspire, Heal, Holy Burst, and you run and then Holy Spark, and if you run those 5 cards and Hulk, oof, spicy, because you have the cure, you have the heal, you have the free heroism, you have so that can work really well, I'll admit. But again, like Iron Man, in this sense, Iron Man kind of needs the pieces to go his way. Hulk kind of also needs the right team comp. He's not super flexible. He's not a great solo tank. He's not a great solo DPS either. He kind of wants to do both jobs, but he needs heroism and healing to do it. So if you can give Hulk heroism and healing, HHH, Triple H, there you go, Triple H comp, then he's pretty good. But without Triple H, he feels a little weird. He feels rough. He feels underwhelming. Again, other than Thunderclap is so good, even though it is expensive. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Hulk. He's all right. He's all right. Yeah, so that's it for situationally strong. So again, just to reiterate, you can play anybody you want, but these 9 characters or 8 characters plus the 9th variation of Hunter are so good comparatively that if you just play the game with these 8 characters and they're like, nope, my roster is these 8 characters, you can ignore the rest of the roster outside of what's required in the story. And yeah, that's it for situationally. Big Green Man to finish the green tier. First up, not the best picks, Nico. So Nico is a character, I've been pretty hard on Nico pretty much since the dawn of time. I think that her RNG roulette mechanic is being unreliable in a game where you need to know what's going to happen is awful. I think Witchfire is awful. I think Curse is awful. I think Swarm is awful. I think the list goes on. I think half her cards are just awful. But the other half are situationally really good. And that's the key. Situationally. Nico, it pops off, right? She's like, oh my god, this character is broken. She's either, oh my god, this character is broken, or oh my god, this character is awful. Get me out. Um, I never really felt like Nico ever has an in between, and she's very awkward to play. She's very unreliable. She needs certain characters to really make her shine. Again, we just talked about Hulk. That's a great synergy. Um, she can work really well with Iron Man too, believe it or not, because of double up, right? Duplicating the Iron Man cards. It can definitely help. And then I will say this, she does have one of the stronger Midnight Suns cards in the game if you have a lot of excess heroism, and that's kind of where the issue lies. So, from my perspective, I think it's highly inefficient to be sitting on high heroism unless you have built your comp around it, such as, say, Doctor Strange or Hulk, right? But if you're playing Nico and you're like, I'm going to keep my heroism high for the perfect Crack the Sky turn, that's a mistake. And the reason being is Crack the Sky is an exhaust card. So you would have to either duplicate it in your hand with double up, or you'd have to use something like Holy Gift Plus on Hunter. And just don't think that's right. I don't think sitting at high heroism is good. You have environmental attacks you should be using. You have ley lines you should be using. You have heroism cards you should be using, right? So I think if you float around, if you're running Doctor Strange, obviously this conversation shifts a little bit as you want to kind of float around his thresholds. But I think it's good to sort of have like a 3 heroism cushion, depending on your deck, obviously. But you want to be able to have a 3 heroism cushion because if you're on lower difficulties than Ultimate 3, you want to be able to revive, or you want to be able to drop the lampposts on people, right? That costs you 2 heroism. Slide also costs you 2 heroism, and slide is really good. The big crate drops are 2 heroism. So having 3 heroism as your comfort zone is great. And Nico doesn't really do that very well. However, Crack the Sky is good if you do want to play that way and you want to just sit on your heroism. It's a very good card. Witch Storm, I think it's called. Witch Storm or Witch's Storm. Also a really, really good card. It drops to 2 heroism cost when you upgrade it, so I highly suggest you upgrade it. It is an epic tier card. Overall, I'd say Nico she sort of blends that line between support and DPS. You'll notice that trend a lot in this game. And it's just hard to look at Nico and go, you know what I really needed there? Nico, right? Like it's hard to look at her and say that. Whereas you could say that about the top characters, you could say that about the middle characters, other than maybe Wanda. I think there's an argument where you could say, but Blade and Iron Man, you definitely could be like, man, I really wish I had Blade right now. And Iron Man's like, man, I really wish I was running the Iron Man comp right now. But you never feel that way about Nico. And Nico's a very flavor pick. Oh my gosh, her animations are amazing. They're so pretty looking. I love the purple magic. I think she looks incredible. But she's super feast or famine. She feels great or awful, never in between. I'm either always redrawing her cards or never playing them, honestly. And like, I'm trying, guys. Like, unless you have her fully kitted out, like all mods, all card, like if you have her fully decked out, she feels solid. But she never feels to me broken. She's never, like, I can't even put her on the same level as any of the characters above her, because when those characters are kitted out, they are just far better. And that's kind of where the metric lies, right? It's like, if you want to tell me like, oh, well, what about when the Nico build is full? It's like, okay, but what about when the Magik, the Cap, the Wanda, the Blade, you see what I mean? So Nico's in this weird limbo phase for me where it's like, I want to like her, but I don't, and I want to use her, but I do, but Now, if you're a Nico fan, I get it, right? She's super fun. She's super cool. I'm not arguing that, okay? I think she's a blast to play. But if we're talking about efficiency and running in a team composition, she just ain't it for me. She's too inconsistent, too unreliable. And I think Crack the Sky as your game plan is honestly fairly inefficient. So that's my thoughts on Ms. Nico. Oh, her passive is, I definitely underrated her passive. I think level 2 Nico passive is pretty good. But level 1 Nico passive Yeah, that ain't it. Next up, we have, who do we have? We have Wolverine. So this one surprised me the most, right? This character fell the hardest on my list. I had him as like second or third, right? Best tank in the game, not even close. No, other way around. One of the worst tanks in the game, not even close. Reason being is he doesn't have a single way to generate block. And I'll tell you a secret. You cannot survive more than 3 hits on Ultimate 3. Okay? And that's a fact. At least from like full health characters, not minions. And Wolverine's whole thing is chain and taunt, and then a little bit of utility. A little bit of utility meaning, what is it called? I think it's called Power Slash. I think it applies a knockback and vulnerable, so that's a pretty nice card to have. You have, what's it called? Chain swipes. If you use full combo, you can weaken somebody, so that's nice. Like he has a little bit, a teeny tiny bit of utility kind of sprinkled in his kit, and then his rapid healing card is amazing. I'll give him that. It's the best healing skill in the game, and I say that with confidence because not only does it heal, but it also cures, and that is amazing. However, he having the inability to generate any sort of block or resist, that's the thing. He doesn't even have resist, at least not without mods. It's hard for me to go, yeah, he's the pick here as the tank because the dude can't even tank. Like, and then chain attacks, his chain attacks are lower damage coefficients than some of his competitors like Blade or Spider-Man or whatever. So it's hard for me to go, yeah, I'm going to bring Wolverine for the chain. And the list goes on. And then you have cards like Lethal Pounce, which, you know, are really like Lethal Pounce feels amazing on Berserk turns where you're like Berserk Ree, and then you Lethal Pounce and you full combo for the strengthen, and then you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that. But like, you just spent all your card plays on Wolverine. Let me tell you something. You didn't do anything. Like, a fully kitted out Wolverine is like so underwhelming. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. So like, I don't know what it is with him. He's better used in like dual tank comps or dual bruiser compositions. But man, he's so awful. He just feels awful. I will admit that if you take him with the intention of murdering him, and you're like, okay, I'm bringing Wolverine to do as much damage as humanly possible and then die and then res him. Sure, because he does get the free revive on Ultimate 3, uniquely. But I don't think we should be building a game plan around dying, okay? So I think Wolverine is awful. I am kind of like I was saying with Dark Hunter, I am exploring him more on my current playthrough. I just want to see, maybe I find some sauce, but honestly, my first playthrough Wolverine deck was insane, and it still felt awful. So I don't know. And furthermore, I didn't even talk about Wanda's card, but it's better than his. His Midnight Suns card is awful. It's dreadful. Furthermore, his passive is awful. It's dreadful. um, because when you're redrawing his cards to heal him, not only is the healing coefficient pretty underwhelming, but you're like dumping away the character. You're like, oh, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. Healing is great, as I've talked about, but not when you're relying on it as your form of tanking on a character that has chain taunt, right? Like, I never want to, when I'm running Wolverine, especially on the new game plus earlier in the game, I never wanted to taunt them onto him because I knew he was just gonna die. So I just, if he had, so I'm not concerned about his damage. I'm not concerned about his utility. His card, like, he actually seems coherent. He seems nice, right? And like, that's the weird part. But then you look at the reality of the situation. And you're like, okay, Wolverine cannot tank 3 hits. It's a fact, right? Like a 3, 4-ish cap. He's gonna tank a lot more than that. Captain Marvel, even, she's going to tank a fair bit more than that. Hulk, maybe not, but at least he's going to hit way harder than Wolverine. We already talked about Hulk. So, but Wolverine does have that utility. He does have chain. So, if you get him modded to like apply bleed, apply weak, apply this, apply that, yeah, okay. He can kind of become like a bit of a debuff bot, but it's just not good. All right, it's just not good. I don't know what to tell you. If you're a Wolverine stan, tell me how I'm wrong. If you've played him, again, if you've played him on higher difficulties, at least heroic 3, sure. Let me know. What are you doing? What am I missing? I I I don't see it. I think he's awful. But I am giving him another fair shake currently. Next up on the list is yeah, okay. Captain Marvel. I was like, it's a toss-up between her and the next one. Captain Marvel honestly shares a lot of the issues we've talked about already with Hulk and Wolverine. The difference is, I didn't think Captain Marvel was down here until Hulk. Okay? So Hulk kind of took Captain Marvel's spot. I think he just does her job better. I don't think that she is inherently awful. I don't think that she is unplayable. I actually think that she can kind of pop off, right? Like Bring It On is a great card. Knee Strike is surprisingly a great card. Excuse me. Fist of Radiance would be a great card if we could get it forceful knockback without mods. It really is a tragedy that it doesn't become forceful. And then, what is it called? Oh yeah, Bring It On, I already talked about, but that's really strong in binary. The other issue that Marvel has right now is she is just so buggy that people are losing binary just sort of randomly on her, and that sucks. Like that feels really bad. Now this is at the time of this video. It hasn't been patched yet. They did do a day 1 patch already, and she wasn't included in there. So maybe it's a feature. Maybe there's something we don't know. My theory is you have to play her cards to maintain binary, and thus far that's held true. But at the same time, people are losing it for other reasons. So I don't know. She's just a buggy mess. I think Hulk does her job better. I think that her passive is awful because you can't rely on it at all. At all. Her Supernova card is okay. It's not great. Her damage output in binary is definitely no joke. But as soon as block is gone, she loses binary. And that leads me to my final point. On Ultimate 3, she's losing binary. Like that's kind of just a fact because you really don't have the block generation to make it happen. Like you would need to run conceals, resists, and heads up on Iron Man, and this and that and this and that. It just doesn't really work. Okay, she cannot maintain binary efficiently or easily at those difficulties, and therefore she's half a character. Because without binary, she's awful. Even on heroic difficulty, she's awful without binary, and then with binary, she's somewhat of a competent character. So yeah, but even though she has access to block, whereas Wolverine doesn't, she doesn't have utility. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't have the weakens, the vulnerables, the strengthens. Like she doesn't have that. She barely even has CC for goodness sake. So she's just a damage bot. She doesn't really do much else. And even then, other damage characters do more than she does in binary, which is crazy to think about for me. But it's true. So I would take Wolverine over Marvel in many situations for tanking, if not every situation for tanking. But and she's okay at DPS, I guess. Yeah, she's super underwhelming. Um, but she, like Wolverine, likes bruiser comps. She actually does pair fairly well with Wolverine, ironically, or she goes pretty well with Cap, I will say. So there's that. If you're a big tank guy, you're like, yeah, I love the Wolverine, the Hulk, the Cap, the Marvel. Yeah, for sure. Make Marvel the DPS in that comp. It's actually pretty good. Give it a go. Um, but not good enough to really take the spot of on my roster personally. So There's really not much else to say other than being a buggy mess. I think she's hella underwhelming at the higher difficulties because she can't maintain binary. If it was easier to maintain binary, or maybe her regroup card gave more block and more healing, maybe we could have a different conversation. But as of right now, no, she ain't it. Next is Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is another one, sorry, is another character that people are kind of getting on me about. But honestly, just hear me out, okay? I don't think discarding with Hellride is a negative. I don't think discarding is really negative at all. My issues with Ghost Rider stem from a few simple things. Number one, he's a 3-card character. I'll come back to this point because I think it's the most important. Number two, his self-damaging mechanics are awful because Drain Soul is awful. If Drain Soul, straight up, if Drain Soul was a better card or it had a better damage coefficient, he'd be higher on the list. But to play this self-harm, self-heal, self-harm, self-heal playstyle, it's dreadful. It's awful. It sucks. Penance Stare, I'll admit, is an incredible finisher, but you don't need to take Ghost Rider for that, right? Like that's the thing. You got to think about, like, okay, does he need the spot on the team for Judgment and Penance Stare? No. Why? Because other characters do that without hurting themselves. And he also is a buggy mess. He, as of right now, and this has happened to me, his Hellmouth has been causing issues where the missions are soft locking, where you kill everything and you're just stuck there. He also has issues where I've seen people, they use Hellmouth and all of a sudden their characters are doing no damage. I thought that was crazy. Like, how does that make any sense? And he also has had issues, maybe not now since the patch, but he's had issues where Hellride was causing people to just crash, and it's not because they were playing on potatoes, it's because they're just crashing. So anyway, he's a buggy mess, but let's exclude the bugs. Let's come back to my first point, which was he's a 3-card character, and I mean this with the utmost literacy. Lash. Take both your lashes, upgrade them both. It's a forceful knockback quick. Honestly, pretty good card. And the self-harm that he takes, not super bad if you have at least one form of healing. Number two, Hellride. It's in his base deck. Upgrade them both. Run 1, run 2, I don't care. Probably 2. Pretty good damage in quite a solid line. Pretty good card. And the fact that it discards allows you to just cycle through your deck faster. Number 3, Strike to Hell. Strike to Hell is like a self version of Magik's Banish, but the advantage is that it costs you no heroism, and it generates you heroism rather, but it also heals upon upgrade. So Straight to Hell is an amazing card, actually, I'll admit. Straight to Hell is an incredible card for Ghost Rider. It allows him to sort of off-tank or pseudo-tank, meaning that you can get away with a tankless composition if you're running Ghost Rider and at least one other form of defense. For example, if your Hunter has Fortify and the, what do you call it? Fully charged, I think it's called Fully Charged Collar, which is just the best one in the game. Ghost Rider, and then anybody else, you're fine, honestly. So he just lashes for quicks and to stack his passive. He Straight to Hells when he has too much pressure, and then he Hell Rides. Literally no other card in the deck matters. So what I do is I ran 2 lashes, right? So 2 lashes, Hell's Fury, just because if you have like Lash Hell's Fury, it is a play. But honestly, I often didn't play Hell's Lash. 2 Hell Rides, 2 Straight to Hells, and 1 Hellmouth. And the reason for the Hellmouth was strictly, if there was a random turn where using it upgraded to give Strengthened into Hellride actually won me the game, then I had that as an option. Otherwise, it's redraw fodder. It's just straight redraw fodder. And that's it. That's what I run. Immolate sucks. It doesn't scale very well. Drain Soul sucks. It takes way too long to become effective. Judgment and Penance Stare are just too risky. Retribution kind of sucks. And that's already like 5 or 6 of the dude's cards. Like, the dude has nothing. He has nothing, and yet he's required so much in Act 2. I hate it. I hate it so much. I wish I didn't have to take frickin' Robbie Reyes everywhere. But whatever. So, Lash, Straight to Hell, and Hellride, solid cards. But that's it. And even then, it's not like that is so abundantly strong that it makes up for the self damage. It doesn't. Like, he's a 3-card character, straight up, at least on the higher difficulties. That self harm is just so debilitating and damaging. And think about it this way, right? Before you're like, oh, but Zedd, it does so much damage, and you could just heal him with Hunter. Okay, but let's turn that on its head, yeah? Why would I use Judgment and Penance Stare if they did so much damage to me when I could probably use 2 other, like, and then heal him, right? So that's 2 card plays. Why would I do that when I could use 2 card plays, one on the Hunter and one on any other DPS, and probably do comparable damage without taking self-harm? I'm just saying, bro. Like, I don't want to hear this Ghost Rider is a good character nonsense. This is propaganda, bro. Um, but he is better than the worst character in the game, and that being Spider-Man. And it's not even close. I almost wanted to put him on his own tier, but I thought that would just be silly because he actually does have a decent early game. Spider-Man is awful. He is dreadful. This character is awful. Oh God. Okay. Let's talk about this. So, originally, I had thought Spider-Man was going to be fine because he has good utility, he has environmental attack synergy, Infernal Spider makes cards free, which is awesome, Web Slinger gives him strengthened, which is awesome, and I'm like, surely then, chain kick or whatever, chain swing, whatever, and quick kick would all of a sudden become decent cards. And then of course you have Web Toss and Special Delivery. I was like, surely these cards get better. Well, no. So the problem with this chain attack is it's only chains on KO, and to get enemies that low to have it be efficient like that is quite difficult. And if you're like, oh, I'm just going to use it as my quick alternative, well, it's like, why wouldn't you use quicks? It thins the hand faster, which thins the deck faster, which is just more efficient. So like, why are you using quick? I don't know. Why are you using chain rather? Quick kick is a pretty good card, I'll admit. Whip is good until you get Bands of Cetrac, and then it's like, why wouldn't I just use Doctor Strange? Obviously, being the only 2 binds in the game, you can't just. It's not that black and white. Thwip is still a nice card to have, but it's. Yeah, it is what it is. But then you have Special Delivery, which is so awkward. It doesn't even have a base damage coefficient. You have Web Toss, which is just also awkward and way overpriced. I don't understand. Like, here, what is this? Oh, Web Throw, excuse me, Web Throw. So this card at 3 heroism is just absurd. I don't understand why it needs to be that expensive. Up here, since we're talking about it, up here though, I'll admit, really nice. It's really nice for 2 heroism. It does insane amounts of damage. Like, it scales like crazy good. And the 2 weak is awesome. So like, he gets the bind and the apply weak on a strong heroism card that Strange has with Bands and Axe. So that's nice. But those are the only moments where I'm like, yeah, Spider-Man's feeling pretty good right now. It's when I'm using Web Slinger for the strengthen into up here. That feels good. But almost every other conceivable play just feels awful. So something on my current run, I'm actually forcing Spider-Man to see if I can break new ground with him and find something that I'm missing, find something that we're all missing, because I've convinced people this character sucks. Is I've even played Infernal Spider into Web Slinger into up here into Infernal Spider into Spider Sense into Web Slinger into up here, and I still like all of that, and then you just thwip in there somewhere. It still doesn't amount to really anything. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Lol. It still doesn't really amount to anything. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, he doesn't scale, he doesn't do any damage, his utility is way outclassed by other characters. Web throw sucks. Whip is underpowered. Uh, Opportunist, frankly, sucks. If you think Opportunist is good, I think your heroism management just sucks. Like, I only run Opportunist, honestly, just as like a flavor card. Oh, I need more moves. Oh, I yeah, I don't even know. Opportunist just feels awful. I want him to have better attack cards. I want him to have something. Something. I don't know. I don't know what he needs. He kind of just needs to be pushed in either the utility environmental direction or pushed in the DPS direction. Because right now he's kind of shit at both. And it makes sense to push him in the environmental direction, but the truth of the matter is he's not even that good at it. Like, it would make sense to me if he had an ability to, like, okay, let's go to Opportunist here. Right, if Opportunist, right, Opportunist plus, his next two environments cost 0 and deal more damage. If this card scaled better, and if this card made it like way more damage, then maybe we're getting somewhere, okay? Then maybe we can have a conversation. But right now, it doesn't do enough. It's not enough. You can see here, it's 50% of his offense. Up this to like 75, maybe even 100. I mean, honestly. And then we can maybe have a conversation, right? So, I don't really know what else to say on Spider-Man. I don't think he's any good. I think he's by far the worst in the game. This is my bottom 5 for sure. Nico, Wolverine, Marvel, Rider, Spider-Man, and this is ordered as well. All for different reasons, but there you go. That's my New Game Plus Ultimate 3 tier list. I am going to update this after my next playthrough and the next and the next and the next. That's just what I intend on doing, seeing how my opinions shift, and maybe new ground is broken. Maybe they do balance patches. I know it's a single player game, but it wouldn't be the first time. And yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts. Tell me why, as a Nico stan, you think she's top 1. Tell me why, as an Iron Man player, you think I'm wrong, even though you can't look me in the eye and tell me it doesn't take a whole build to make Iron Man work. And if you're a Spider-Man believer and you have him working on Ultimate 3 to good effect, tell me how. Tell me what I'm missing. But I will see you guys at my stream, twitch.tv/Zedd_SG6. Link below. My anthology is below if you want that as well. This tier list will be up there. And then the community Discord is down there. The wiki is down there. Everything you need is down below. Timestamps too, the whole 9 yards. I will see you guys on the next one. Have a lovely rest of your day.